بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه تسليما كثيرا. وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We've seen many times and we've heard many lectures and khutbahs about the Dajjal. But that doesn't prevent us from continuing to rehearse and to remind ourselves, continue to try to learn as much as we can about the Dajjal. Especially one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is an authentic hadith that the Nabi said, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Inna min ashrat as-sa'a ala yuzkar Ad-Dajjal min 'ind al-minbar. One of the signs of the hour is that the Imam, the Khatib, won't tell the people about Ad-Dajjal on the day of Al-Jum'ah. That hadith shows us from the many benefits that the dhikr and the tadhkir of the Dajjal is something that has to be consistent and persistent because we'll forget. And Bani Adam, he was created to forget. As the Nabi said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if he is reminded, he'll remember. A lot of times when people are inviting others to attend conferences and lectures, today we want to captivate and draw the biggest audience possible. So in an attempt to do that, many times people don't want to step on anyone's toes, so they try to choose topics that are generic, where there's not a lot of ikhtilaf between the Muslims in their madhahib and not a lot of ikhtilaf in their jama'at, the way they understand. And the issue of Ad-Dajjal is one of those issues that's looked at like that. So you'll find many times an organization will put on a talk about the signs of the hour or the Dajjal. But in reality, akhwani, the lesson about the Dajjal is not generic. The talk about the Dajjal is from the Asul of Al-Islam. Some of the basic fundamentals of the Asul of Al-Islam. It's from the Minhaj al-Salafi, meaning when you look at the companions radiyallahu anhum and their students from the Tabi'een and their students from the Atba' at-Tabi'een, you're going to find that they paid attention to this issue. For that reason, we have the ulama of al-Islam, the ulama of al-Hadith, the fuqaha of al-Islam, al-Imam Ahmed and the likes of al-Imam Ahmed, writing books about the aqidah of the companions, the aqidah of al-Hadith, the aqidah of Ahl-Sunnah, the Firqat al-Najiyah. Al-Imam Ahmed has a book that we should know about, we should read. It's translated into English and it's called Usul al-Sunnah. How were the companions in terms of their methodology and in terms of the aqidah that they possessed. Al-Imam Ahmed said from the asul of the sunnah, the aqidah of al-Islam, he mentioned this issue of Ad-Dajjal. And all of those ulama used to put this issue in those books about aqidah. Students of knowledge, they're aware of those books. Al-Imam al-Barbahari, Sharh al-Sunnah, he puts it in that book. Ibn Battah has 2 books like that, Al-Ibanat al-Kubra and Al-Sughra, put it in that book. Al-Lalaka'i, Ibn Khalal, all of those ulama used to put this issue in their books. In addition to that, because our call and our message is always connect ourselves to the ulama of Islam. Doesn't mean that the ulama are infallible, ma'sumun. It doesn't mean that. But it means if a person is trying to understand Islam, this religion by himself, just by himself, he's making ijtihad by himself, trying to figure everything out by himself, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. As a matter of fact, one of his du'as, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that he used to ask Allah not to leave him responsible to himself, relying on himself for the blinking of an eye. Because if you had to rely on yourself for the time that it takes for you to blink your eye, in that one split second, you can lose your religion because of Dajjal or other than the Dajjal, because the hearts are between the 2 fingers of Allah Rahman, and He changes them the way that He wants to change them. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us thabat on the deen, the dunya and the hereafter. Those scholars of al-hadith also put this issue of a Dajjal in all of the kutub al-sitta, all of them. Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, and Nasai, Ibn Majah. The Dajjal has his own chapter in there. When they talk about the fitan and the malahi, they always bring this issue of the Dajjal. So it goes to show the importance. The person who has basira, the person who he can see things and understand things even in an indirect way, he's labib. As the Arabs say, al-labib bil-ishara yafhamu. The fact that all of those books of hadith have this issue in it, and those ulama of Islam, they knew what they were doing, and the heart of the Muslims connected to the ulama, it goes to show this is an important issue. What also proves the significance of studying Ad-Dajjal, not just here today, but you as a father going back and teaching your children about it, is the fact that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam's companions radiyallahu anhum used to sit and study the Dajjal amongst themselves. And they would sit and study about the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah amongst themselves. He came out as it was collected by Al-Imam Muslim, and he saw them all sitting around and they were discussing amongst themselves. And he said, Mada tudhakirun? What are you people studying? What are you talking about? They said, we're studying about the hour, Ya Rasulullah. We're talking about the hour, what Allah mentioned in the Quran, which you've taught us. We're talking about the hour, some of the signs of the hour. He said to them, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, innaha lan taqum hatta taro ashra ayatin. You people should know that the hour won't be established until you see 10 signs. And then he told them about the 10 major signs, or 6 of them and 4 other ones. So the point of that hadith is, in the absence of al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the companions amongst themselves were studying and rehearsing about the Dajjal. And the way of the companions is the correct way. Alaykum bis sunnati wa sunnat al-khulafa al-rashidin al-mahdiyyin min ba'di. Addu alayha bin nawajid. Take my way and take the way of my rightly guided khulafa. Take the way of my companions. So if it was good enough for them, it's good enough for us. Those of us who are from West Africa and other parts of the Muslim world who are upon the madhab of Al-Imam Malik. Al-Imam Malik used to tell the people, what was the religion for the companions back then is and should be the religion for us today. And what was not the religion of the companions, radiyallahu anhum wa ardahum, shouldn't be the religion that we're practicing. So, from the religion of the companions was the issue of studying about the Ashrat al-Sa'ah. And from the 10 major signs is the Dajjal. So all of that, as an introduction, goes to clearly indicate the real Muslim the Muslim haqqa, the real Muslim, who's trying to practice Islam correctly and he loves the Sunnah, then he has to understand the best of this ummah, radiallahu anhum, after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to study it, and the Nabi used to place a lot of emphasis on it, and he used to tell them about the Dajjal all the time. From the Tabi'een is a personality, his name is Ta'us ibn Kaysan al-Yamani. He's from the Thiqat of the Tabi'een, one of the premier ulama from the Tabi'een. If his younger son or any of his children would make salat, he would ask them, did you seek refuge in Allah from a Dajjal? If the boy said no, the father, who was taught by the companions, would tell the boy, go back and do your prayer over again. Not because the prayer is batila, if you don't read and seek refuge in Allah from the Dajjal, your prayer doesn't count. No. If a person doesn't do raf'ul yadayn, raising his hands in the places, if a person doesn't take a sutra, if an individual doesn't look at the place of sajda while he's praying, it doesn't render his prayer null and void, but his prayer is not complete. It's not the best prayer with Allah Azza wa Jal. But the reason why the father said that, the Tabi'i, Ta'us, was because of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, إِذَا تَشَهَّدَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ أَرْبَعٍ. If any of you make salah, and then you come to At-Tahiyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, and you finish that, Durud al-Sharif, the Nabi commanded, seek refuge in Allah from 4 things. And one of the 4 things is to seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from the fitna of the Masih Ad-Dajjal. And that's in all of your prayers. That's in the Fard prayer, that's in Jum'ah prayer, that's in the Eid prayer, that's in the Nawafil, that's in Al-Istikhara, that's in Istisqa, that's in Al-Duha, that's in Qiyamul Layl, Taraweeh. Anytime you make tashahhud, every single day, seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from the fitna of the Masih Ad-Dajjal. All of those are clear isharat and indications that show the Muslim who cares about his deen, who cares about his family, Ad-Dajjal, that tabi'i, Ta'us, the fact that he took the time out to say to the boy, his son, pray it again, it's a sign and indication that the Salaf used to be on top of their children. They used to be on top of their children. And the question that presents itself, as a father, as a mother, did you ever sit down with your children to tell them about a Dajjal? Because those kinds of stories, the child is going to be fascinated about it. Instead of the child growing up believing in the boogeyman or a boogeyman, they're fascinated by those stories. If you want to tell them stories and you tell them the story about the khurafat of the boogeyman, you'll find the child freaking out but paying attention to it. Instead of bringing that khurafat to the table, teach him about the Dajjal, what the Dajjal looks like and what he does and so forth and so on. So the Salaf of this ummah, especially the companions, radiallahu anhum, despite the fact that they were the awliya of Allah and all of them are in Jannah. All of them are in Jannah. Despite that fact, they were individuals who paid attention to this issue. They paid close attention to it. And from the virtues of the companions, Ikhwani, concerning the Dajjal as well, is how the Prophet was talking to them one day, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the Dajjal. Out of the clear blue sky, he just started talking to them about the Dajjal. And in the process of talking to them and telling them about the Dajjal, their eyes were fixated on him and their hearts were afraid. They were paying attention. Al-Bara ibn Azib, the narrator of the hadith, radiallahu anhu, said, you can barely find from amongst us someone who was blinking because we were looking and we were fixated, listening to what he was saying. While the Prophet was talking, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looked as if he saw something, he heard something, and the other people, everybody looked as well. When he looked back at them, he saw that they were looking and they were disturbed. He said, what's the matter? What are you people looking at? They say, Ya Rasulullah, you were telling us about the Dajjal, and you looked over there and we thought he was going to come out. So we were afraid. He said, don't be afraid if I'm here. If I'm with you, فَأَنَا حَجِيجُكُم مِّن دُونِهِ, I will be the one who will protect you. If he comes out right now, you get behind me, like in the jihad. In the jihad of al-Islam, the jihad of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's designed to spread la ilaha illallah. It's designed to eradicate fitna and fasad. Al-jihad is designed to protect people's blood, to protect their property, not the fasad that we see going on all over the place. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the jihad, the companions said, we used to get behind him. Wherever the fighting was in the jihad, it was the hottest spot. That's where he was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we found ourselves behind him. So if Ad-Dajjal came out while he was here, one of the aspects of knowledge we should know about the Dajjal, and it shows the virtues of the companions, radiallahu anhum, is if the Dajjal came out while the Prophet was there during their time, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they would have been protected. And then he went on to tell them, but if he comes out and I'm not here, for everybody will be responsible for himself. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Because as I mentioned, someone here has the most taqwa, someone here is most diligent in his salat, someone here fasts more than everyone else, someone has the most knowledge, someone is going to be in the best place of Jannah. Somebody, that individual from amongst us is threatened. His Islam is threatened. So that issue shows the superiority of the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. Concerning this issue of a Dajjal, something we have to mention connected to the introduction, because there's a lot to deal with in the next few days, inshallah. There's a lot. And hopefully we can cover as much as possible, but there's a lot. So we're going to take our time. But one of the things that is connected to it is the hadith of Jibril. The hadith of Jibril. When he came to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his hair was exceedingly black, his clothes were exceedingly white, and no one knew who he was, and he didn't look like a traveler, and he sat next to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and began to ask him about the basics of the religion. What is al-Islam? And the Nabi explained to him what is Islam, then he explained what is al-Iman. When he explained to him what al-Iman was, he said al-Iman, it consists of believing in al-Yawm al-Akhir. In order for a person to be a mu'min, he has to believe in al-Yawm al-Akhir, the last day. Part of believing in al-Yawm al-Akhir is to believe in everything that the Quran said was going to happen before the day, on the day, and after the day. So part of al-Iman bil-Yawm al-Akhir is to believe in the Dajjal the correct way. You do not, and I do not have the luxury, if you can call it that, or the liberty, the freedom, to just come and say, I'm going to believe how I want to believe. Some people are telling us that the Dajjal is the New World Order. That's not the Dajjal. The New World Order is peanuts. It's a walk in the park as a fitna compared to the Dajjal. Some people were telling us that the Dajjal was the television, the one-eye monster, the television. The television is not the Dajjal. The Dajjal has some characteristics. He was a human being, a real individual, a human being. He wasn't some apparatus, some mechanical thing, a figment of someone's imagination or left up to you. La. A Dajjal has to be believed in the way the Kitab explained and the way the Sunnah. No doubt, Ikhwani, no doubt. If Al-Islam gave us the details about how to do the qada al-hajjah, how to go to the toilet, how to wear a ring, how to put your clothes on, take your clothes off, these mundane issues, then clearly it's going to tell us the details of this individual who all of the prophets and all of the messengers came and warned their people against him, again showing the seriousness of the issue. And the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad, he came and he added some information that other prophets and messengers didn't tell their people, like describing him as having one eye that's messed up. And in another narration, the other eye was messed up. So there's no contradiction. He got two messed up eyes. One protrudes a lot and the other one protrudes a little. So don't let the person come and say, you see, this is why I'm from the Qur'aniyin. Because one hadith is saying the right eye, the other hadith is saying the left eye. No, it means one eye is more messed up than the other eye. But one is extremely protruding, which is an indication and a sign that he is not and he cannot be Allah Azza wa Jalla, because Allah is far away from any naqs, So the point, Ad-Dajjal, Ikhwani, is an issue.